Oh my god! Did you know that there's shape-shifting lizard people who rule the world? Did you know that the 1969 moon landing was faked? Do you know that the Earth is flat? Did you know that the lost city of Atlantis is in Africa? Did you know the pyramids of Egypt line up like a motherboard? Did you know that? Anyway, in all seriousness, grab your tinfoil hats because we're going to be investigating some crazy conspiracy theories online, mainly on TikTok. Woo! Just make sure you got your tinfoil hats tuned up to maximum frequency blockage. Alright, so we're starting off with a clip from Joe Rogan, the ultimate conspiracy platform.
I've read every freaking theory on how they built those pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza has 2,300,000 stones in it. Some of them they weigh between 2 and 80 tons.
Yeah, but that's only the casing stones on the outside. If you look at the inside stones from parts of the pyramids that have actually been damaged, you'll see that most of the inside mass is just made of, like, roughly shaped stones.
They dated to 2,500 BC, but that's just because of organic particles that they pulled from inside stones. But they also say that they probably could have sealed those stones and resealed those stones over time.
He gets so easily convinced by people just putting their wild stories out there because he's so interested in a wild story. And come on, Joe, for the size of your platform, you should be able to afford some fact checkers, like some really good quality ones.
Ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we thought.
I hate that line. Ancient civilizations are far more advanced than we thought. Then why don't we find anything more advanced? Yeah, they made some big, like, buildings out of rocks and stones using a huge labor force, etc.
Talk about the ancient Egyptians. This is the Orion's Belt, a star constellation. Is it a coincidence that it perfectly lines up with the pyramids of Giza?
Yes. It lines up with so many trios of stars out in the galaxy. It's unbelievable. There is so many stars, you could just cherry pick any stars. And just because the Orion's Belt happens to have 3 stars, and I don't even think they align exactly, he's kind of overlaid it there to sort of give an estimation, but you can even see in the middle of this one, it doesn't line up with the centre. If he was trying to get it to line up with the centre, and then the centre, and then the centre, they would actually be aligned. But they're not. He's just kind of debunked himself, but people who aren't willing to look closely enough won't even spot that.
Now, what's crazy to me is that the speed of light and the altitude of the pyramids are the same number.
Isn't that just something to do with, like, pi and the radius from... I can't remember. There was some reason why it was close to the speed of light, and then it's kind of a universal calculation to do with some geometry.
Also mind-blowing that the pyramids line up with the motherboard of a modern computer.
Oh my gosh. I said that one as an example in the intro. I didn't think this was going to be part of this. From flippinhistory.com as well. What have happened to them over the years? I swear, about 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago now, they actually were reputable. But in the last couple of decades, History Channel have become completely clickbaity. And they're the hosts for shows like Ancient Aliens and stuff, aren't they? In fact, I bet that's what this snippet is from.
It's also shocking that ancient cave drawings have depictions of light bulbs.
They are not light bulbs. Get educated, you Neanderthal. In fact, I probably shouldn't insult Neanderthals because Neanderthals invented fire before us Homo sapiens were even around. Yeah, shut up, you haven't got a clue.
The color blue was never written down.
Weird.
Like in the Bible, in like all this, like blue was never a word.
Weird.
Yeah, well, neither was, like, I don't know, magenta and cyan and all these other shades that you would clearly see. We didn't have a word for a lot of things for many years.
They would always just...
They didn't have a word for that color?
No. And so, but like when they would describe like the ocean
Yeah.
and stuff like that, they would describe it as like green.
What?
And yeah.
Unless you've got clear blue skies reflecting straight off the ocean from your vantage point, then yeah, the ocean generally does look a bit greener. So why does that make a difference? I mean, most people say that the ocean's greeny blue anyway.
And so the theory is if you can't connect a word with a color, can you not see that color?
That is absolutely ridiculous. That's almost like saying that before we invented a name for a colour, we were seeing in like 8 or 16-bit RGB. You know, when you look at... let's just bring one up a minute. Right, so there's an example. So we've got an 8-bit gradient at the top versus a 16-bit gradient at the bottom. Obviously, there's a lot more colours with 16 bits, so you can have a lot more of the shades in between the shades. So these stupid TikTokers' theories, apparently, is that if we didn't have a name for these, like, individual shades, then you can't see them. That's just stupid. Get educated.
So they did an experiment in this tribe, and they also have never heard the word blue. And so they gave this graph, and it's this graph of like 12 squares, and they're all green, right? And then there's one that's like a bluish green, and they had these people look at it, and they were staring at it, and it took them so long to figure out which color, because they don't know what to look for in the blue. It was weird. And then they showed another one, and it was all green, and then there was one square that was just like a shade lighter of a green, but it was hard for us to see, and they could spot it instantly.
Wow.
Because they have like over 30 words for green.
Oh my gosh.
Your brain is tricky.
Exactly. It's more of a context thing. It's like a cultural context thing. We know all these different colours because we use them for decorating, fashion, lots and lots of different reasons that we have all our colour palettes that we do now. But when you're a tribe living in the middle of like the jungle or the wilderness or wherever, your main use for colour is to spot predators and to spot things in bushes and in distances and in like grasses and trees and stuff. So I'm not even the least bit surprised that they've got all these different names for green, because green is such an abundant colour in nature. God, a lot of these conspiracy theorists just do not use any brain cells at all, I swear.
If the center of the Earth is extremely hot, then why is the bottom of the deepest oceans very cold?
Oh
I
my
want you to let
gosh.
that sink in for a minute. Because when divers swim very down to the bottom of the ocean, doesn't that mean they are now closer to the source of the Earth's heat? But instead, at that depth, the water is actually...
Just look at this diagram alone. So the ocean probably goes to about like this depth. Have I got a ball somewhere? So the total diameter measured right across Earth through the centre is approximately 12,500 kilometres. And the average depth of the ocean is around 3.5 kilometres. 12,000 versus 3. So I don't know where Joe's getting his logic here, where you're going to be closer to the centre. Like, technically, yes, you are going to be closer to the centre, but that's just not how it works.
It doesn't make any sense. The deepest part of the ocean is called the Challenger Deep, and it has a depth of approximately 11,000 meters with a...
Yeah, 11 kilometres is the deepest part of the ocean. The whole diameter of the world is 1,000 times bigger than the deepest part of our ocean. That's not really getting closer to the centre of the Earth, is it, Joe?
Yo, the glitter conspiracy is a rabbit hole you are not ready for. So I didn't know this, but there's legit only like 2 main manufacturers of glitter in the world, both of which are based in New Jersey, of all places. And yes, I'm talking like regular glitter, the same stuff you use in arts and crafts.
Who cares? There's loads of big companies who like basically have a monopoly on 1 or 2 things in the world. It's not a conspiracy, that's just a fact.
The Big Bounce theory. It states that if the Big Bang occurred from nothing, then there will be no changing fact the next time the universe is created. This means that when our universe ends and another is created, it will be created in the exact same way with the exact same galaxies, planets, and species.
That's not what the Big Bounce is. God, so many of these conspiracy theorists don't even do a basic Google search for the thing that they're trying to, conspiracize about.
If this is true, our entire universe is in an endless cycle of creating and destroying itself.
And it may be, but it's going to take probably hundreds of billions, if not trillions of years.
And you will be born into every universe endlessly.
I don't get where people are getting this rubbish from. A lot of this is the type of stupid stuff that should have been bullied out of people when they were younger and growing up. But now, with the age of the internet, everyone can just go and talk in their echo chambers online, in their forums and in their Discord groups and all this stuff. What's this Ocean X story? I know Ocean X.
An 8th ocean, you're saying they're keeping this closed off from the public for what reason?
Listen, there were things down there we just weren't prepared to encounter. Look, we were sent down into a canal.
How is that a mermaid? Like an AI mermaid?
Weren't prepared to encounter. Look, we were sent down into a canal which sonars couldn't detect a bottom on, right? Takes us hours to get through it, and when we finally did, we emerged into what felt like a pocket ocean. Words couldn't explain the anatomy of the creatures we were seeing outside the window, right? But we truly realized the alien nature of this place when this elongated, almost translucent-like figure, right? No joke, literally swims through the wall of the submarine. Don't ask me how, but we're just staring at it, right? As it completely passes through and just goes out the other side, right? I mean, these things weren't even abiding by our known laws of physics.
I mean, I remember saying with the crew, like, if outer space was a place on Earth, this was it.
If there was any truth to that, I'm sure OceanX would have actually posted it, or videos or pictures or something on their channel. Because they've done a bunch of deep sea stuff trying to uncover things on the seafloor, especially things that they could possibly uncover that weren't underwater like 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, or even longer. So they're doing good work, but this just sounds like a load of gobbledygook. And look at that stupid AI upscaling. I hate that people are doing all this stuff. I'd say it just turns what is real footage into like fake, but I'm even wondering if this is just a complete AI generation now as well.
So the Eye of Africa, also known as the Richat structure, or just the Eye of the Sahara, is a roughly 30-mile wide geological formation that kind of looks like a giant eye. Officially, the scientific opinion is that this was thought to be formed possibly from tectonic activity or volcanic activity, which people will use this excuse to say, no, there's no way that Atlantis could have existed there, but I think...
Yeah, no, that is the theory, is that basically there was a big, like, sort of, like, magma chamber, I think, underneath, and it just kind of pushed up over time, because it kind of rippled out. That's how it's got this concentric circular structure. And it's not very geometrically accurate. Also, all the descriptions by Plato of Atlantis say that it's only so far from the sea, and when you actually measure, it's like 10 or 15 times further than that. You know, it's like well over 100 kilometers from the sea. And that apparently, you know, Atlantis was swallowed by waves and a massive tsunami, etc. But if you put in a, what's it called? Like, I think it's a worldwide flood chart, you'll see that Mauritania is one of the highest points in Africa, and the Richat structure is one of the last places that actually fills up with water. So the sea level would have had to be like hundreds of meters above what it is today, which we know is just not true through geology and science.
Civilization could have also existed there, but also would be formed naturally, personally. So that's the point of this one. A lot of people claim that the Eye of the Sahara or the...
Well, yeah, there have been certain structures found there, but they're just very basic, like look at enclosures and walls. Nothing advanced, just very primitive. There's even a museum there that somebody's got in a hut, where they sell lots of things like artifacts and spearheads from, you know, tens and tens of thousands of years ago there. Yeah, so this is the little museum at the Richat that someone's got in a little straw hut. And as you can see, there's an abundance of these type of hand axes. We'll see more as we go inside, because they find things like shells and other basic tools. See, look at this. It is actually quite incredible, the things that they found, but they're not from some advanced civilization. They're just clearly like pounding stones and hand axes and spearheads and lots of other little things. There's a few things here made out of metal, like you can see some metal spearheads. Here's a hook type thing, but most of it looks very primitive and definitely not something that you'd attribute with something like the lost city of Atlantis,
as it resembles how Atlantis was described by Plato. So Atlantis was described as an empire made up of 10...
And again, it doesn't describe Atlantis as described by Plato. I could link you to a video, because I actually made one on one of my other channels, which goes through all the fabrication and the reality of the Richat structure, and how not similar it is to Atlantis, and how it doesn't match Plato's measurements, and there's just... it doesn't match anything, basically. There's like a couple of little things that you could almost cherry pick, but everything else just tears it down.
This empire was said to have a lost city called Atlantis that was the capital. It was said to be made up of concentric circles, 2 of water and 3 of land. And as you can see, the Richat structure, it appears to be exactly that. It even has a ton of salt deposits in the center of where the water would be, which, where does salt come from?
Yeah, it does seem like it did actually have water in the distant past, but there's so many river and stream beds leading to it that you can see from basically the mountain range that surrounds it. And to anyone who doesn't know, this might blow your mind. I think it was up until about 3,000 years ago that Africa was pretty lush. And when you look at like the Sahara Desert, most of it was green and lush back then. It only became the arid desert that we know after the last few thousand years. Is this a flat earth one?
Family, let's make a good comparison. Look at this map. The inside of it looks exactly the same as what NASA has shown us. You see, America is over here, Africa is over here, Europe is over here, Russia is over here,
yeah,
Greenland
we all know.
over here,
okay,
and over here the North Pole. And
yeah,
look, family, again, America, Africa, Europe, Russia,
the North Pole.
North Pole. Now we're comparing it with the one that is showing us the land beyond the ice wall. America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and again, the North Pole. Over here they call it Hyperborea. And look, family, all of them are showing land beyond the ice wall. Look, another one showing more land. And the map even shows that there are animals living on the other continents. Look, griffin. And he...
Have you ever looked at ancient maps? Like in many ancient maps from even just a few hundred years ago, in the seas there's like sea monsters or you know, certain big fish or whales or something like that depicted.
Here you see everything is gone. Where did all the land go, family?
Where did your understanding of the concept of a map go? God, these people just do not have any critical thinking skills. It's hilarious to laugh at them. Right, I think we're going to leave it there because my brain is rotting. I can feel it. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Don't fall for conspiracies, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.